Sony has been feeling the heat ever since it named its new permanent hosts for Jeopardy. Now, one of those hosts, the show's executive producer, is giving up on the on-screen gig. Past sexist remarks and other derogatory comments Mike Richards made recently resurfaced. CBC senior entertainment reporter Eli Glasner is on the story. So, Eli, what did Richards say about his decision to step back from hosting?
Yeah, that new permanent host is unpermanent right now, and he is basically saying that this focus on him and his past things that he's said is too much, become a distraction. I'll read you actually a statement that he released earlier this morning. Over the last several days, it has become clear that moving forward as host would be too much of a distraction for our fans and not the right move for the show. As such, I'll be stepping down as host effective immediately. As a result, we will be canceling production today. Now, I should make clear, Sony Pictures is standing behind him as executive producer. He's been with the show for a couple of years. I suppose they like what he's doing, so he is sticking on the job behind the scenes, but no longer standing behind the podium as the new host. They say they're going to basically begin again a search for a new permanent host. They're going to bring back guest hosts once again, the kind of an on-screen addition that we saw in past months. Interesting, they began taping yesterday, so there will be episodes with Mike Richards as the host airing because that's the way the show works. They need to honor what happened with the contestants as the game show continues.
Well, that is interesting. I hadn't thought about how that would kind of cause a little bit of a wrinkle. Even before the controversy, though, many people thought Richards was an unusual choice after the death of, legendary Canadian host Alex Trebek. Just remind us of how we got here.
Yeah, so he has filled in the shoes of Alex before. He was one of the first people to go back on air after we lost the late, great Alex Trebek. But it did seem unseemly, if not a conflict of interest, that after all of these other celebrity hosts essentially auditioning on air, suddenly this guy from behind the scenes, the executive producer, was acclaimed as the new host. I talked to Bill Brio about this. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, if you're trying to screw up the legacy of a long-running show, this is the textbook now on how to do it. Did Aaron Rodgers know, or did Ken Jennings know that they were competing for this job, or LeVar Burton, or everyone else, against the executive producer of the show?
And what's interesting is, as executive producer, it was Richard's role to pick which episodes the guest hosts were featured in and push those to the committee. So you can see how that is certainly somewhat of, he has a hand in the decision that they're making, and ultimately he won. But that was just the beginning, as you mentioned. Then we got these revelations of this offensive and racist language that he was using in podcasts from 2013 and 2014. He was involved in a discrimination lawsuit when he was working at Price is Right. I talked to Yolanda Machado. She is a big fan of LeVar Burton. She was pushing for this guy. She grew up reading Rainbow in the morning and then Jeopardy in the evening. I love that idea. And she was really disappointed with the way Sony has handled this and some of their excuses. Take a listen to what she has to say.
What really bothers me is that the Jeopardy people behind the scenes, what they put out when they hired him is, we did the analysis and this is the guy our people want. If indeed they did their research as they claim and they saw it and just kind of hoped it would go away, that just speaks a different thing.
What's interesting is when asked about advice from Alex about hosting, one of the things that Richard said is that the stars are the contestants. But I think one of his gravest errors is that the focus became him and his past behavior. Now he is out. He is not an Alex Trebek. But what was magical about Alex is that he was just a conduit. He was an enigma. We didn't know too much. He was the perfect vehicle so you could appreciate the show. You can't say the same about Richards.
You're right about that. Okay, Eli, thank you. That is CBC senior entertainment reporter Eli Glasner.